Fungi are predominantly multicellular organisms except the yeast. And not only that, they are eukaryotic organisms who have prominent nucleus, which has presence of nuclear membrane surrounding the inner DNA inside it, and non-chlorophyllous organisms. These organisms do not have color, and because of absence of chloroplast, they cannot make their own food, and that's why they depend on other decaying organisms for their food, or even on the host for the food, like the parasites. The nutrition in case of fungi is always heterotropic. It can be either absorptive or parasitic, but it is always dependent on some other organism for its food. Fungi are have presence of cell wall around them, and it is made up of chitin. Now these are some of the characters of fungi, but they are used, or they have very vivid use for the mankind, and for the human beings they are used in brewery for production of alcoholic beverages. They are very important because the alcoholic beverages are made from the fruit juices or from grape juice. If we think that grape juice is sweet in taste, and because of its sweetness it must be having sugar content within it, so you can see the formula C6H12O6. In presence of an enzyme zymase, it gets converted by the yeast to alcohol and carbon dioxide. Now as the amount of alcohol tends to increase, the yeast bodies or the yeast budding is stopped. Higher amount of budding will only occur when the amount of yeast is much more as compared to the alcohol content. And alcoholic beverages are very useful in maintaining the, these are some of the good uses of alcohol. First is it helps in supporting the nervous system and enhances the immune system. Sometimes even the chromium in is present in brewer's yeast, and that's why it is useful for the individuals. Other than that, this brewer's yeast can provide energy and help in maintenance of healthy skin, eyes and mouth. These are some of the good effects of alcohol. Bad effects, everyone is aware, it causes cancer, it can cause lung disease. At times, if it is consumed in higher quantity, it can cause mental disruption as well. And the individuals who consume alcohol to a very high degree, they tend to lose their control over their body. Basically, the cerebellum, it stops controlling the entire muscular movements in those individuals. The next importance is for the bakeries. Yeast is also known as the baker's yeast because it is used for preparation of bread, and bread rises because of the carbon dioxide which is produced along with alcohol. The same reaction which we saw in the previous, in case of the breweries, the same reaction is over here also taking place. It is serving two purposes. The first is it, the carbon dioxide causes the increase in the dough, whereas the increase in the size of the dough makes the entire bread very light. And this white structures which you can see over the green ones, that is the budding which has just started, or initial outgrowth or protuberance which has just initiated in the dough because of addition of yeast and sugar. Whenever we make a dough for the baking purpose, or for I should rather say for making a bread, we add the dough along with yeast and some amount of sugar. The sugar acts as the primary source of food, and once the yeast has multiplied, then it uses the sugar content of the flour which is used in order to make the, in order to use it as a substrate for further growth or further budding. So the importance of carbon dioxide is to rise the bread and make it lighter. This is the reaction which is occurring in case of the bread, and the smell, the pungent smell which you can smell when the bread is rising, that is because of presence of ethanol within it, and that smell is because of it. And carbon dioxide is very important because it is helping in rising of the bread. Even there is some heat which is liberated during the process. If you just cover the area where the fermentation is occurring, you will see some droplets of water over the covering, and that is because of the excessive heat and the precipitation of that heat. Vitamins are also made with the help of some of the fungi. Whenever we talk about the yeast, it is a unicellular fungus. Now, some other funguses are also there, like industrial production of riboflavin is mostly done with the help of Nematospora or Erythrothecium gossypi. These two are used in order to form the riboflavin synthetically, or you can think that it is extracted from these two funguses, riboflavin, which is a vitamin. Now, vitamins are micronutrients and they are very important for the growth of living organisms. Vitamin B complex is very rich in case of yeast. So, whenever this is Saccharomyces cerevisiae is the scientific name of yeast, and whenever we are consuming bread or any product which has presence of yeast within it, we are consuming vitamin B complex along with it, because vitamin B12 is found in very high quantity in case of Saccharomyces, and as such also all the vitamin B complexes like vitamin B5 is also present in high amount in case of the other examples you can see. Here are a series of some of the enzymes or the organic acids which are produced or formed from some of the funguses and the uses. So you have to learn at least two or three from here. For the enzymes, say amylase and cellulase, let just try to learn all of it, or if you can remember, learn the zymase and amylase. At first, zymase is secreted from Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is the yeast, and it helps in production of ethyl alcohol. If you see amylase, it is formed from Aspergillus oryzae or Aspergillus niger, and it is used in pharmaceutical industry as well as in the alcohol industry. Rest too, I'm just leaving it. You can just avoid learning the cellulase and invertase, but if someone wants to learn it, they can. Like, let's just look into it. It would be good that we see it. Cellulase is Trichoderma resi, and it is helpful in cheese production or at times hydrolysis of the cellulose which is present in the plants. So any plant, if you consume, if you consume any spinach or anything as such, you will be requiring the cellulase in order to digest it. Otherwise it will just get wasted. In case of human beings, it gets wastage, it adds to the fibers because we cannot digest the cellulose enzyme as it is lacking the cellulase enzyme. Cellulose is digested with the help of cellulase. So that's why it is important. Invertase is secreted by Saccharomyces cerevisiae and it is used in the paper industry. There are some of the organic acids which are present in some of the fungi, and if you consume the fungus, you are consuming the food, or you are getting that organic substance as well. Like citric acid is present in Aspergillus niger, and it is used from the Aspergillus niger for the leather tanning or at times for soft drinks and food preparation. Fumaric acid is present in Rhizopus stolonifer and it is used as a wetting agent. Gallic acid is present in Aspergillus gallomyces and Penicillium glaucum, and it is used as a dye, ink dyes. Gluconic acid is present in Aspergillus niger and it is used in textile industries. Kojic acid is present in Aspergillus oryzae and it is used as an insecticide or antibiotic. Itaconic acid is present in Aspergillus terraneus and it is used for the manufacturing of fibers or plasticers. Microbial production by the help of some of the vitamins. So vitamins which are present or which produces some of the enzymes, and these enzymes are producing some of the microorganisms. Let's look up to some of it. We will just look into the fungus because we are interested in the fungus. So we will look into third one, riboflavin. It is formed from by the process of fermentation, but it is formed from SIB gossypi or erythrothecium, SIB. We have already discussed about them in the vitamins part. Other than that, you can see the next only riboflavin, because all the rest they all are using the bacteria in order to form the vitamins. So only riboflavin is the one which is using a fungus. So we will just look into the riboflavin. Next is about the cheese. Cheese is produced with the help of fungus. Now we have to think about the cheese. At first, we have to think about curd. Curd preparation is done with the help of bacterium, and it is lactobacillus. After the curd is formed, then after we need that same uh, curd to be processed, and after the processing cheese is formed. So once the curd is formed with the help of lactococci or streptococci or lactobacilli, after the starter culture, so we take a milk, we take a beaker filled with milk which is heated at a very high temperature, and then after we add we cool it and add a starter culture which is a small amount of curd into it. Once the curd, we let it settle for a day or two, and once it is completely formed, then after we take out all the thickened portion and discard all the water from it. Once we have taken up all the thickened portion, that thickened portion is formed. How is it formed? We'll just look into the microbiology of that part. Just understand this. The enzyme rennet can be catalyzed by the can be used to catalyze the conversion of casein into paracasein. First conversion is casein, which is present in the milk, to paracasein. Now, most of the elder people, they cannot have milk. They feel like vomiting after having milk. It is because of lack of renin. Renin is an enzyme which is required for conversion of casein to paracasein. And only when this paracasein is formed, then the curdling will occur. So, because of this conversion, what happens, or how is this conversion happening? By removal of glycoprotein from the soluble casein. And once that glycoprotein is removed, then we have paracasein. This paracasein further clots or coagulates in the presence of calcium ions to form white creamy lumps called the curd, leaving behind supernatant or the whey. Now we only need the curd, we will discard of all the whey. So what exactly is happening? There is something known as casein, and this casein has presence of a glycoprotein with it. When in presence of renin, we remove the glycoprotein, so only casein is left, and this casein actually forms the paracasein. Paracasein, in presence of calcium, it gets converted into curd, the thickened portion of the curd, and we need that curd for the processing of the cheese. So that is first half. Next, what we do is the cheese curds are then removed from the hoops of the brine by immersion in a saturated salt solution. All this curd which is formed is then dipped into the salt solution. The salt absorption stops bacterial growth in the curd. I hope it is understood. Since the entire thickened portion of the white curd is taken and it is dipped in salt solution, now all the lactobacillus, they will be killed because of high concentration of this salt. And as all the lactobacillus are killed, no further growth of lactobacillus will be seen, and this condition is known as Cedar cheese. You all have heard about the Cedar cheese. That is how the Cedar cheese is formed. If white mold spores have not been added to the cheese milk, in the cheese maker applies them to the cheese either by spraying the cheese with the suspension of mold spores in water or by immersing them with the cheese in a bath containing spores. Now, this Penicillium candida, there should be gap between both of them, Penicillium and candida. It is a fungus, and it is used in order to process the cheese. So this processing will only take place when we are adding it, or we are using the cheese for the process, or we, if we want to make the cheese, we need to add the Penicillium candida to it. There is another one example for the same thing, that is you can just see how the processes, or what are the processes we are following. First of all, we are curdling by the conversion from casein to paracasein in presence of renin and calcium ions. Then the curd is processed by dipping it in salt water. First of all, it is collected. All the curd is collected and the water in the curd is removed off. Then after, the entire curd is wrapped up with a cloth, muslin cloth, and it is dipped in salt solution so that all the bacterium inside it is killed. And then we add the spores to it by dipping it in another beaker containing the salt solution along with the spores of penicillin candida, so that the cheese processing begins and it becomes actually cheese. One example is this blue cheese. So once that salting is done, then after we add Penicillium roqueforti to the cheese. And once we add roqueforti, Penicillium roqueforti, the cheese looks somewhat like this. And now we can say that this cheese, if we keep it for a month or two, it becomes blue cheese, or we call it as ripened cheese. So I hope it is understood. Now, next is about the harmful effects of the fungi. Fungus, they spoil the food, they cause certain diseases to us. So we will just look into the details of it. First of all, these fungus, they are very poisonous. For example, this fungus, which is visible over here, it is Amanita, and it can be lethal if someone consumes it. They can die because of consuming it. Fungus like Amanita phalloides, you must underline the scientific names properly, produces toxins like alpha amantine, causing lesions in the stomach cells, and phalloidine affects the liver. So problem in the stomach and liver starts, and because of which the individuals, they die when they consume amanita. And why do they die? Because of the release of this toxin, which is alpha amantine. Fungi like Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus fumigatus, sometimes even Penicillium islandicum, when they infect the groundnut and mustard, they just destroy it or make it poisonous by release of aflatoxin that binds with the DNA and inhibits the transcription, resulting in inhibition of the protein synthesis in the mustard seeds or even in the groundnut, because they both are very rich in amino acid content. So, if there is inhibition of the protein synthesis or inhibition of the transcription, we cannot expect that the plant will be producing, or there will be production of proper there will be proper production taking place. Most of the food spoilage takes place because of the bacterium and the fungus. The few of the big funguses which cause this trouble are mucor, rhizopus, and cladosporium. They all infect the meat, and meat, even at temperature of -6 degree frozen temperature, it can get rotten because of these few funguses if it gets in contact with these mucor, rhizopus, or cladosporium. Same is in the case of rhizopus, even infects the or it even rhizopus is itself called the bread mold. So in normal temperature, if you just keep the bread as such, you will see that fungal growth arises over it, and that is the rhizopus. Aspergillus can harm or can destroy the pickles, jellies, and jams in normal temperature. So that's why we should keep them in the normal temperature. Diseases. There are various diseases caused because of this fungus. First is the athlete's foot and thrush, common which causes the common infection that causes fungal infection and at times even causes serious problems like AIDS in few human beings. Now, athlete's foot is a disease in which the foot has sores and red areas in the foot is seen during this disease, like this condition. You can see it. Now, various other diseases are also caused by the fungus. Here are a list of few of them. Very common one disease which most of the children and people suffer from is ringworm, and it is caused by a fungus. There are various kinds of funguses causing this disease, and it is trichophyton or microsporum or epidermophyton. They all infect the area. Sometimes they form rings. Most of the times they form rings over the nails or at the back, in the neck. anywhere in the body they can form rings, and those rings are as such that whenever there is a humid condition, it will be itching and it will be visible. But as soon as the temperature is either cold or it is very hot, then they disappear. There are few treatments which are suggested for the process, but it is not very helpful. Most of the people who rely on the treatment is just helpful for a small period of time, but after that again the disease, it starts or it creates problem for the individuals. Lung disease are also caused because of the fungus, like aspergillosis, or certain more lung disease can be caused because of it. Even ear infection, anywhere where you will see fungal growth, it is because of the fungus. Or what how do we understand it's a fungal growth? It keeps on coming again and again. Even um, the allergies, at times they are caused because of fungus. One common example which I want to give you all is about the dandruff. It is caused by trichoderma, and it is a kind of fungus. And see, the individuals who suffer from dandruff, they always suffer from dandruff after a certain period of time, and it is always because of the same condition. So I hope it is well understood to you all. And if there all the diseases are not important to be learned, but at least two to three you can learn, and that will be really good for you all. Thank you.